Thank you, Congressman. Your support means an awful lot to our cause. Now let's talk about the United Nations. I know, I could do without them too. It's a snake den of dictatorships and anti-freedom nations that hate America, hate our freedom, and most of all, hate our Second Amendment. They want us to conform to their beliefs. They conspire and plot and concoct international treaties and agreements that, if adopted, would destroy the Second Amendment, ban our firearms, and obliterate American freedom as we know it. When our next speaker was the U.S. ambassador to the UN, he didn't mince words. He flat out told them to take a hike. That we weren't conforming to them, they should conform to our Constitution. Now that's defending freedom. Please welcome a man who stands up for America, our former UN ambassador, John Bolton.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well, it's a great pleasure to be here today and a great honor for me. You know, I've noticed on the list of speakers this afternoon and this evening that there are a number of prospective candidates for President of the United States. So I thought that it might be helpful to them and to you to talk about one of the President's most important duties, the protection of American sovereignty. Now, you know, for Americans, sovereignty is not an abstract concept. It's not about some king or queen in some far distant place. It's about us. The Constitution's very clear that sovereignty for Americans is not vested in our government. It's invested in we the people. And we the people insist that our government stay under control. So when you hear people say, today is an age of global problems, and therefore we need global solutions, and that means sharing American sovereignty with international organizations or foreign governments, what they're really saying is that the American people have too much control over their government today, and they need to give a little bit of it away. Now, since I think most of us think we don't have enough control over our own government, that's not a prescription that we're inclined to follow. And most American presidents, in fact, all American presidents throughout our history, have basically understood that. But today, we've got a different kind of president. We've got a president I've called the first post-American president. Now, to be very clear, I didn't say un-American. I didn't say anti-American. I said post-American, in the same sense that some Europeans don't consider themselves British or German or French, but consider themselves European. They are beyond nationalism. We don't belong to the European Union, thank goodness. So President Obama has just taken it the next logical step. He's a citizen of the world. And I think he really believes that. And I think he believes it in part because he doesn't fundamentally believe in American exceptionalism. He doesn't believe, in the words of John Winthrop, that we are as a city on a hill. He doesn't believe we're the New Jerusalem. He doesn't believe in American exceptionalism. Now, when he was asked this question on his first trip to Europe by a European reporter, Mr. President, do you believe in American exceptionalism? He said, yes, I believe in American exceptionalism, just as the Brits believe in British exceptionalism, and just as the Greeks believe in Greek exceptionalism. And you know, there are 192 members of the United Nations. He could have gone on, just as the Ecuadorians believe in Ecuadorian exceptionalism, just as the Burkina Fasosians believe in Burkina Fasoan exceptionalism, just as the Papua New Guineans believe in Papua New Guinean exceptionalism. Ladies and gentlemen, manifestly, if everybody is exceptional, nobody's exceptional. And that marks a very different view than any other prior American president. Now, that's not just my analysis. Let's take the analysis of a certified member of the liberal media elite, Evan Thomas, a senior editor of the soon-to-be bankrupt Newsweek magazine. When he gave his post-speech analysis of Barack Obama's address at the 65th anniversary of the D-Day invasion, and Evan Thomas compared Obama's speech to President Reagan's famous speech in 1984 at the 40th anniversary. And this is what Evan Thomas said, and I'm quoting now. "Reagan was all about America. Obama is, we are above that now. We're not just parochial, we're not just chauvinistic, we're not just provincial, we stand for something. I mean, in a way, Obama's standing above the country, above the world. He's sort of God. He's going to bring all different sides together," close quote. Now, apart from the comparison to God, which is a little bit over the top even for the mainstream media, that is an analysis that the president himself, I think, believes in. All that patriotism stuff, we're beyond that now, or at least he is. And that's why I think as we look to the elections this November and as we think about the next presidential election, we need to be sure that our presidential candidates, our would-be presidents, understand American sovereignty and defend American sovereignty, which I think is under threat. Under threat in a very wide variety of situations. How about, for example, one of the prime markers of national sovereignty, control over our borders? Do we have that under control? How about defense of our country? How about listening to what Secretary General Kofi Annan from the United Nations said in 1999 about national defense? He said, unless the Security Council is restored, the UN Security Council is restored to its preeminent position as the sole source of legitimacy on the use of force, we are on a dangerous path to anarchy. He said the UN Security Council is the sole source of legitimacy on the use of force. I want to hear our presidential candidates say, no, no, Mr. Former Secretary General, for the United States, there is no higher authority on earth than the U.S. Constitution. Not international law, not resolutions of the UN General Assembly, not decisions of the International Court of Justice or the International Criminal Court. The highest source of authority for Americans is our Constitution and the laws that flow from it. I'm not sure that the current administration in all of its top leadership positions fully endorses that. But we need to have that debate. Let's see if other presidential candidates will make that an issue. And look at the range of topics that we've got that the administration still has 2.5 years to work on. The international war on terror, which has to remain a priority, the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. We have an administration that won't stand up to Iran and its pursuit of nuclear weapons, that won't stand up to North Korea and its pursuit of nuclear weapons, that signs treaties with Russia that reduces America's strategic capacity and leaves us and our friends and allies around the world more vulnerable, that wants to sign treaties that further restrict our military capability, that provides budgets for our military that are wholly inadequate, and that could leave us with a substantial window of vulnerability in a continually challenging world. That goes to core issues of American sovereignty.